Welcome to World Pediatrics, Healing Beyond Borders, the official podcast of World Pediatrics. I'm Reese Williams, and I'm so excited to invite you into this space where stories of hope, healing, and transformation take center stage. Welcome to another episode of World Pediatrics podcast, Healing Beyond Borders. I'm Reese Williams, and today we get to talk to another recipient of the care that World Pediatrics provides. We are talking to Demetrio. Hello.
Hi.
An absolute pleasure to meet you. I can't wait to get to know you.
Yeah, I am so glad to have the opportunity to be here on your podcast today and just to share what I got to share with you.
Wonderful. Let's start at the beginning. Let's do this chronologically. Tell me about your life in an orphanage in the Ukraine, Demetrio, and having cerebral palsy. Like, what do you remember about your life at that time?
Well, what do I remember about that time? That time was very hard because my biological parents, they left me right when I was born, right after my birth, and they didn't come back. So I just ended up going to the orphanage, and I lived in the orphanage for about 7 to 8 years. And, I was the only one in our group who had a physical, who had cerebral palsy. So the rest of our people in the group, the kids, they were all, walking and being independent and all that. I was the only one who could not walk at all. So I was just, sitting on the floor and not being able to move. So for me, that time was very hard, but people ask me all the time, don't you feel like sad or maybe even very sad that your biological parents didn't come up and see you? And I always say, I do. We don't know the reason why they left me or why did they abandon me. We don't know the reason. It's probably because they had some life problems, or maybe they, I don't know what's the reason why, but that's a fact. They just left. So going back to that time, it was very hard, but also at the same time, I'm really glad that I stayed in the orphanage instead of just being outside without at all. So say the orphanage was at least something, not just staying outside.
That's really very brave and wise of you to be grateful for what you had. And it's hard to do, but it's very mature of you to be able to look at it that way in such a hard situation. But then you met an American couple who changed things for you. So let's move up on a positive note. Tell me who you met and how they changed your life.
So that story started with when I was still in the orphanage. A group from America, they were coming to Ukraine every summer to do day camps. And so the day camps they would last for like 5 days, and then they would take another week and they would visit the orphanages in Lviv. It's a town about 2 hours away from Borislav. That's where I live. And so they would, go to the orphanages and visit the groups. They would see what, the kids need, and they would buy bananas, juice, I don't know, crackers or whatever. And they would just chat with the staff members of the orphanage. So then, when they visited all the groups, one more group, which was the group that I was in. So one of the staff members from the orphanage said, we have one more group. but we're not sure if you want to go visit that group. And the team said, yes, we do. We would love to visit, that group. And so the staff members are, okay, well, no problem then. I'll take you there. So they go to that room, to a group, actually. They open the door, and all the kids start running to them, because they never saw Americans. Who are they,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, all the kids started checking on their pockets. Somebody sat on their lap. Somebody started. I mean, it was a mess. I'll tell you that. Woo. And I was the only one who was just sitting on the floor because I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. So one of the team members, Mr. Billy, he saw me from far away, and he came up to me. He picked me up, and he put me on Miss Mary's lap, which is his wife. And so and I was sitting on Miss Mary's lap, and all the kids were sitting around me. And that's when Miss Mary said that, God said that we need to get you out of here. So that's how I met the American team from North Carolina, because that's where Miss Mary and Mr. Billy are from. That's how I met them, and that's how they've changed my life. Just by that one visit, it changed my whole life.
Oh, that's such a beautiful vision. That's just so incredible that you stood out from everybody else. And then how did you meet Kate Corbett with World Pediatrics?
Mm-hmm. So I met Kathy Corbett, and I was adopted by a family from Borislav. And then me and my mom, my dad, we started going to United States for treatments. But Miss Mary's brother, Papa Joe, who lives in St. Louis, Missouri, he is very good on, finding doctors and, talking with doctors and all that kind of stuff. So Miss Mary talked with him, and she said, well, I was in Ukraine, I was in Lviv, I was in this orphanage, and there's this little boy who cannot walk. Can you talk to our American doctors if we can get some health care for him, and he can come here and get some operations and, PT and all that stuff. So then that's how Papa Joe got connected with Kathy, and Kathy got us on her program to the World Pediatrics. So that's how I got connected with World Pediatrics.
How old were you when you were adopted?
I was 7. No, I was 8. I was 8.
How is your English so good? Your English is impeccable.
Well, I started learning English when I was in the States, because you are in the English environment. You're in America, and that's the only language you hear. You don't hear Ukrainian. Now, in the beginning, when me, my mom, and my dad, when we came, I couldn't speak none English. I mean, none. I mean, I couldn't understand, and that's why we had people who would translate what the doctor would say, because I would not understand. Now I will.
Wow.
But back then I would not. So that's how I learned, is just by being in that environment, hearing how people talk, and just picking up all the funny words and slang words, and that's what I do.
Don't pick up the naughty words, Demetrio.
I know.
You have soaked it up. Your English is incredible. I'm so impressed. And so what did that feel like for you, coming from a place where you were so different, to finally having a family and then this team of people and World Pediatrics who had your best interest at heart for you, and you knew that you were going to get care? What did that mean to belong to this community that was looking out for you?
That was amazing. That feeling when, you have people who want to help you, people who care about you, and people who know that one day, because we helped you, you can probably help someone. Not probably, you will help someone else. So that feeling is something I can't even describe. Just being surrounded by people who care, being surrounded by doctors who know what they're doing. I don't even know what how to best describe, but I'm just thankful to all the doctors and all the hospitals for the care they gave, for the support they gave, that now I'm able to walk on my own, I'm able to provide for my own, I'm able to be independent, not dependent on somebody else. And it's all thanks to doctors and, again, World Pediatrics. So
was there one visit in particular or one surgery in particular that you realized things were going to be different or made you very hopeful or made you realize that you wanted to give back? Was there one particular trip or surgery that really made a difference for you?
I can say that all the surgeries have made difference in my life. I mean, because, like I said, I couldn't walk at all. So the surgeries, they helped me get back on my feet and walk. Yes, that was not easy. I mean, I had good days, I had bad days, I was screaming, I was crying, I was upset. But still, I was able to fight through that, because those hard times, they build me up. That's the only way I can describe. Yes, operations are hard, they're painful, but on the other hand, if you understand, they're going to help you, walk. They're going to help you, again, be independent, and that's exactly what happened. And those times, they taught me how to be thankful for every pain you go through, every challenge you go through, every PT session you go through. Even though I was about to, get upset. I did have days when I was upset. Still, what are you gonna do? If you're upset, are you gonna just fold your hands and say, you know what, I'm gonna quit? I'm done.
That's what I always like to ask people when they've been through something that's such a long journey and so harrowing. Where do you find that strength on those days where you feel like you want to fold your hands? Is it faith? Is it family? Is it picturing your goal? What in the world gets you through a day when you feel like it's not going to get better, when you maybe don't feel supported? What in the world gets you through? Where does it come from?
For me, it's faith, number one. Two, it's family. My mom, my dad, my sisters, my brothers. And three are people who surround me. These are the three main groups of people who really are there for me whenever I need that. And like you said, when there's days when you want to fold your hands up and just quit, what are you going to do? Are you you're just going to quit and say, you know what, that doesn't work, I'm done? Or you're going to say, I have people who care about me and they don't want me to lose. So I want to make sure I do the best I can. For me, there was one story, I'll never forget.
Tell us.
Story goes like this. I was sitting on the couch, one of my operations in 2019, and Dr. Gordon from Shriners, who was doing the operation, he said, well, you're going to have to sit for 3 weeks because your legs will be casted and you're not going to be able to walk and all that kind of stuff. And I said, okay, if I have to do it, I'll do it. So, I'm sitting on the couch, and then my mom said, I want you to scoot to the edge of the couch so we can try standing up, because back then the doctors already said we need you to try doing some small steps so that way you can start moving. And I remember I tried I tried to get up and I tried to scoot myself. I fell down. I tried to get up again. I fell. I was upset with myself. So then my mom went to the garage to grab my wheelchair. And I thought my mom's going to be like, why are you not in the edge of the couch? But my mom didn't do that. Instead, she just grabbed me by my legs and she just scooted me over to the edge, because I tried. I mean, I couldn't do it because I was weak and my hands couldn't handle that. So that's one story that I'll never forget, that even though you tried, fail, it doesn't mean that you didn't try, or you were crazy, or you were lazy, or whatever. It just means, I can do it. But there was somebody, again, who said, you know what, I'll help you because, I see you're, struggling. So that's one story.
I love that you found such a great family and that you have siblings. I love hearing that. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
How did your experiences with World Pediatrics affect what you're doing? I understand that you're getting a graduate degree in social work.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, I would imagine your experiences led you down this path. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. For me, now that I'm, like you said, I'm graduating in July, and I'm really excited about that. For me, this experience, the challenges I've gone through, the pain I've gone through, the good days I've gone through, the bad days I've gone through, they all led me where I am today, and to study what I am studying today.
And I understand you're also not just doing social work, but children with disabilities and war trauma specifically.
That's it. That's right.
How do you prepare yourself to work with such heavy topics and remain strong for yourself?
For me, the topic about people with disabilities is something I can talk for hours. I'm being honest now, because I know exactly what that is, because I live with that, not weeks, not months, not years. I live with that every single day, and I know exactly what people with disabilities go through every single day. It doesn't matter where, in the house, school, college, hospital, I don't know, Pete, I don't know. But I know what it's like when you feel like, nobody cares about me. I'm just nothing. I'm just going to close myself and cry in the pillow. That's what most people with disability think about. And I'm sure I would be one of them if I were not adopted. If I was not having a family and I was not given hope, I would probably do the same thing. But just because there was a family, there were people around me in Ukraine, in America, again, World Pediatrics, I'm not closed up, I'm not complaining, I'm not crying, I'm not blaming anyone else, I'm not blaming my parents, just because my mom and dad, they gave me a hope, and they said, you know what? You are like everyone else. Yes, you do have a disability, but don't let that disability stop you from achieving your goals, going towards what you want to achieve. Just do it. And why am I working in this field today? Because I want to give that hope to children who lost that hope, or who don't have that hope, because I was given that. And when we talk about people with disabilities in Ukraine, it's a whole nother story, because back, if we look at history, let's say, back in the Soviet Union times, people with disabilities were being treated like objects. I mean, they were not treated like human beings. The government at that time was believing that people with disabilities don't exist. Even if they do exist, they have to live separate places. They have to be away from normotypical people because they're nothing. They won't achieve anything. And sadly, but we see same thing now. Even though we live in the 21st century, we still see same problem. We still see people with disabilities not treating people with disabilities like they're human beings and like they belong to this world. And I'm not only talking about people who have cerebral palsy. I'm talking about people who use wheelchairs. I'm talking people who don't see. I'm talking about people who can't hear. I'm talking about people with autism. I'm talking about a whole list of people.
And you're going to change that. You're going to change people's perspectives.
And my goal, I want to change that because I saw how that can be changed and how your life can be transformed. How you can, even though you have a disability, my goodness, you can live a full life all day, every day.
You are such a shining light. You are amazing.
Thank
You
you.
also have a role with the Ministry of Social Policy. What do you do as Chief Advisor at the Office of Children and Youth? Tell us about this. As if social work wasn't enough, you're doing even more to help people. Tell us.
Yes, so in 2023 in Kiev, we opened an organization called Office of Children and Youth, DMO, under the Ministry of Social Policy. And what our organization does, we help children who live in institutional care facilities, or other way, the orphanages. So most people who work in our organization are young people with experience of living in institutional care facilities. We have young people who lived in orphanages for 10 years, 15 years, 26 years. Like me, we have people who've been from birth till they graduated from that place. So most people who work there, people with experience. Now, this is not a work that you're being paid, because a lot of people ask me, are you being paid as a worker? No, this is a volunteer job and organization. We are not being paid, but we do believe that every children who lives in orphanage should have a family. We want to make sure they're being adopted. We want to make sure they have, mentors. We want to make sure they just live in a loving environment instead of the orphanage. Because the orphanages in Ukraine are more like jail. I'm sorry, but this is true, and I'm not making this up. Because you live from clock to clock. You have breakfast at 10, then you have lunch at 12, then you can go outside only at a specific time. You're not allowed to make your own opinion. You cannot decide what you're going to eat for breakfast. You're not going to decide. You can't decide when you can go out with your friends. Nothing. And that's the orphanages in Ukraine.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
And
I'm so grateful. I was just going to say, I'm so grateful they have people like you and this advisory council and all these people who are banding together to do something about it. This is really, really important work.
Thank you. And what was I talking about? Anyway, I lost my. So we believe that all of those young people who graduate, they have an opportunity and the right to live in a family. Now, most of them, when they graduate, have no idea how to live in the real world because they live in the orphanage, they live in the system where everything is being done for you instead of you learning how to do it. They don't know how to go to a store and buy, I don't know, bananas, cookies, I don't know, wherever. They don't know how to go to a store and pay for whatever they bought. They don't know how to wash clothes. They don't know how to make tea. Why? Because the orphanage system has broke everything. So we believe that, helping young people is the least we can do to see a future where every young person will be accepted no matter what.
It's vital. Like I said, this is really important work. I know that it's important work. It's heavy work. What does Demetrio like to do when he wants to just have fun and laugh and show off that smile? What do you enjoy?
I can tell you, I laugh all day, every day. No joke.
I bet you do.
No joke.
Do you like to paint? Do you like silly American television? What do you like to do?
Read books.
Mm-hmm.
I like to listen to music. So these are the two main things I do.
You have to have things, if you're doing so much for other people, which it sounds like you do spend a lot of time, and again, very, very admirable. You have to do things that are for you too. You have to do things that bring you joy. And it sounds like your family brings you joy as well. So that's really, really important. Very important. What would you, go ahead.
And I can tell you that, when I find time for myself, to read, to listen to music, that kind of gets me to kind of relax and kind of, just chill, just kind of turn your brain off from everything you're doing and just kind of find time for yourself. And because if you're going to be only focused on helping others and you're not helping yourself to read, to find time to listen to music, I'm sorry, but you're going to be tired as I don't know what.
You'll burn yourself out, and then you won't be good for the people that you want to help. So you have to. You have to.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say to 8-year-old Demetrio who came to the United States for the first time and learned about World Pediatrics? What would you say to any small boy or girl who is just having this experience for the first time if they're nervous or scared? What would you say to them to make them feel better?
For me, what would I say to myself, to an 8-year-old boy? To be honest with you, that's a good question. I've never thought about this, but I would probably, first thing I would say is I can't believe that I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing so many things, even though I had a lot of people who looked at me and said, he's not going to be able to walk. He's not going to be able to provide for himself. As a matter of fact, when my parents adopted me, a lot of people looked at me and said, well, what are you going to do with him when he grows up and he's going to be 17 and 18 and 20 and so on? How are you going to provide for him? And my mom just said, we'll do everything we can to make him independent. And today, I'm taking a shower by myself. I can dress myself. I can heat some food if I need to. I'm independent. It's all because my parents didn't believe people and say, you know what? I think you're right. We're not going to be able to provide for him. He's going to grow up and we don't know what to do with him. it's just that my parents, they always believed in good, not in bad. They always knew it's possible. And as a matter of fact, my mom would always tell me, Demetrio, it's possible. You just have to believe it. So that's the first thing I would say to myself is, I can't believe that I am where I am today, because for me, when I would be 17 or 18, I would just be outside and, just not live but survive. But today, I'm not surviving. I'm living.
You're thriving.
I'm enjoying.
You're thriving.
I'm thriving. I'm enjoying every moment of my life. And again, I have good days. I have bad days. And people always ask me, it does not seem like you have a bad day. And I say, yes, I do. But I choose to face my bad day with a good attitude no matter what. So what I would say to myself, that's number one. Number two, what would I say to a child or a kid who's going through the same thing or has gone through the same thing? Number one, don't let someone stop you from where you're going. Just because somebody told you you're not going to be able to do something, it doesn't mean that's true. Just because somebody said, well, you're not gonna go to college, are you gonna believe them, or are you gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna go my way and I'm gonna get there. That's number one. Number two, know and remember, you always have people around you who do care about you. You also have people who look at you like you're crazy. But don't focus on people who don't care about you, who just look at you like you're nothing. Push those people away. Just get them out of your sight. And have people around you who care about you. People who would always believe in you and say, you know what? Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. The work you're doing, that's going to help so many people. Just go, 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 go. No, number three, remember that one day you can change somebody's life. Just like in my life, I had someone who changed my life. And now I'm able to change somebody else's life.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that what life is about?
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That's what life is all about. It's about someone who changed your life, and now you can change somebody else's life. And that person that you changed somebody's life is going to share their story, and that's what life is about. And lots of people tell me all the time, well, you're famous now. I say, why is that? They say, well, participate in all these podcasts, interviews, this and this, and I just look at people and I go, now what makes me famous? And I never want to be famous. The only thing I want to do is I want my life experience and my life story to give hope to someone, to change somebody's life. I don't care how many, I have my own social media account on Instagram and Facebook, and I do not care how many likes I get, as long as my video or my post or the podcast can change somebody's life and give hope, light, faith. That's what I care. I don't care if I get 1 like or 10 million likes. It doesn't change the way I'm gonna look at life. I'll continue look at life the way I look at life. So these are the things I would say to a child or a teenager who's going through the same thing, is just remember these three things. And trust me, you're going to be thankful one day that you didn't give up. Because if you are going to give up now, you'll never have a second chance to try again.
You have a very healthy attitude about all of this.
Thank you.
Very healthy attitude. I think anybody would be wise to listen to what you have to say. We really appreciate you talking to us today. Thank you so much.
I thank you, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity. Because, again, for me, I do not care how many likes this thing's going to get. As long as somebody... Here's one more thing. If somebody's going to listen to this podcast, and somebody's going to write a message and say, you know what, that inspired me to continue going, to get back up and get myself together. That's what I care about. If somebody's going to write a comment and say, well, thank you for that. I've been waiting for that. That's what I want. That's what I care.
That connection is key.
I hope that those who will be listening to this, I hope this will inspire you to never give up. I don't know from what countries you guys are going to listen this episode, but I just want you to know that there's one more story and I'm done.
Share.
There's one of my favorite speakers that I absolutely love to listen to is Nick Vujicic. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No. Mm-mm.
So Nick Vujicic was born without arms and legs, and he was also having, panic attacks, and he was bullied at school because of no arms and no legs. And at the age of 10, he wanted to drown himself just because he believed that wherever his classmates were saying was true. You're nothing, you're ugly, you have no arms and no legs, nobody's gonna like you, you're never gonna get married, and this and that. And he shares his story, says, I said to myself, if there's one more person who's gonna bully me, I'm done. So that happened. Somebody bullied him, so he came back home from school, he went to the bathroom, got some water, stood in the bathtub, and he was about to drown himself. But there's one thought that stopped him from doing that. It was his parents. He said, what if I'm going to do this and my parents are going to cry their whole life out because they believed in me and I just ended my life because I believed some crazy dudes who thought I'm nothing. And now he's one of the most famous speakers in the world. Because why? Because he didn't let those bullies stop him. Because his mom, his dad, people who was around him, they believed in him. And like he says in his story, I never thought I would get married. Well, guess what? He's married, he's got kids, he's got a wife, he's got his own organization. Well, the guy is living. He is thriving, like you said. I mean, but that would have not been possible if he was to drown himself. And we would never know who Nick Vujicic is. So that's, one of my favorite speakers. And he doesn't have arms and legs, but he still lives a full life. People who have arms and legs, it's funny. Nick always says, funny to me because people who have arms and legs have no idea what to do with them.
Well, that's one of the things I talk about that are so beautiful when we talk about people who have had care through World Pediatrics. They've gone through struggles that most of us couldn't even imagine, and they have the best perspective on life. They are the happiest people. They have the brightest inner light, and so I think we learn to be deeply grateful. Well, I can't tell you what a joy it has been talking to you. I knew from the smile on your face when we got going that you were going to be a delight to talk to, and the fact that you are just someone who has had this experience, who has made the best of it, and now you're channeling all of that energy into doing better things for other people who were in your situation is incredibly admirable and brave and just a beautiful thing for the world. So I just cannot thank you enough for doing what you're doing and being strong and brave enough to do it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time and for, again, giving me this opportunity to just share what I've been through and how, my experience have changed me and made me who I am today. So thank you so much. I hope this will inspire people to move, to dream big, and to never, ever, ever, ever give up. If you give up, I don't know what's going to happen.
Good luck with everything you're doing, Demetrio. Good luck.
Thank you.
And thank your parents for us. Thank them for being
I
amazing,
will.
Mama and Papa. They're
I will.
amazing. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another educational and heartwarming episode of Healing Beyond Borders, the World Pediatrics podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.